Hey, how's it going, guys? Ancient Rune here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and today I'll be going over my Dark Army flak build called Drone Master. This build focuses on maximizing the damage of the Dark Army, which is one of the strongest SMGs in the game. When you empty mag reload, your Dark Army drones will start shooting elemental damage bullets as well as increased damage in general. The drones benefit from your gun damage and fire rate you have when they are spawned, and then will keep that damage until you swap away from them. We abuse that with the Stackbot class mod to get tons of gun damage as well as some gear swaps to then boost the Dark Army damage with some damage formula. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The save file will be found in my Discord, which is linked down below. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, and first you're going to want to make sure you have done a save quit because we do use Fl4k and that is predetermined. So we're going to benefit from that. But also make sure you have the correct Stackbot and company man on. And then with your bang stick, we're going to make sure we have gorillas in the mist off right now, which we do, and go and shoot our Dark Army 10 times, or shoot our bang stick 10 times while in fadeaway. And you're going to want to make sure you let this recharge. I'm not going to do it for this case because that would just take a while, but I'm going to let this recharge. And so once we hit 10 times with 5 out of 5 of Fl4k, we will be in fadeaway during this. It'll be one more shot, and you're going to want to make sure your Volter is active with this, and then just swap while standing still to gain the bonus fire rate from turn, tail, and run, and then we should be good there.
That's easy!
Alright, and then of course, first off, we are going to have the Dark Army. You're going to want to make sure you have it in corrosive because we are swapping to a bounty hunter later, and then we have it with Terror Cryo as we use it with that. Before I did use like gun damage stuff, but it just isn't worth it because that only will boost your damage and not the drone's damage with the gun damage, because we have already stacked and swapped. So while we are holding the Dark Army, we cannot gain more gun boost for the drones, unfortunately. So we go with a bonus element, which is still very good. The main thing we give up is rad explosions, which I go with rad grenade to hopefully help, but we also have a lot of hollow points going on, so it's not too detrimental. And then of course the bang stick is used to pre-stack a Stackbot. I have this level 1 times 18 level with 2 meg. This is save edited to be level 1. Just get one as low as possible. What you would do is just start a new character, get a couple levels up until you start seeing purples, and save with a vendor until you get the bang stick, which isn't fun. That's basically it. This could also come in 5 mag, and it probably doesn't need to be an 18 mag, especially since we shoot the bang stick like 10 times, which is definitely more than needed. So if you had like a times 13, that would also work very well there. I don't know about times 9, but who knows, they might. I haven't mathed how many shots you get and how many you need. I just line it up with Fl4k, which also technically isn't needed, but it is min-maxing. And then we have the Revolter, which you want to make sure is active when you swap to the Dark Army. For the fire rate, this is 50% molt fire rate, so it multiplies with normal fire rate. So that is just insanely strong. But when that is going, you want to swap over, because if it isn't, then you aren't benefiting from the fire rate for the drones. But the fire rate is also just really good for emptying your magazine. And then of course you have the 200% shock, and since we're using corrosive, it just helps have 2 beneficial elements. And then you're going to want to have a mitosis hunter seeker. This is for activating the head count skill to get back cooldown as fast as possible with ASC applied terror, so we can have the Terror Cryo going up while still having action skills start on our Revolter. In the parts on the Revolter don't matter, I forgot to mention. Recharge is just nice. Basically just any action skill start Revolter. I have radiation on here to try and get some rad explosions, but it isn't usually that good for rad explosions. The dot looks like it could be decent, but don't worry about the element at all. It could be non-elemental as well. The only thing you could do is technically helps with Armageddon in Guardian rank, but besides that, it doesn't really do anything. Just really mitosis. And then first, we're going to want a stack bot. Any stack bot with fire rate skills is what you're going to want. The stack bot gives up to like 495 gun damage, I believe. So we're just pre-stacking that with the bang stick plus from the shadows to get that to max before going to the dark army. I have gun damage here on the bottom row just because it's technically the best option here. You could also look for some action skill cooldown rate just to get the setup going a little bit faster. Besides that, nothing really helpful. And then also to min-max, you would want fast and furious points. I only have 2 here, but you'd want 3. But it's also just getting more gun damage, which doesn't matter when you have almost 500% just from a class mod going on. Again, just a min-max thing. So it ends up just being any stack bot with fire rate. And then after we get that set up, you're going to want to swap to a bounty hunter. This is another thing where every skill is good on the bounty hunter, but to min-max, I would probably go as many points into frenzy for more V1 damage. I usually like to get the most dangerous game, but it does give crit damage, which is nice. It also does give gun damage, but that gun damage isn't helping us if we don't have it active with the drones. So just using this is purely for the crit damage here. It doesn't really help, while getting more points in frenzy will help the dark army. You can also get points in Hunter's Eye, which is also really good. It's just all good in general. But the main thing you're going to look out for is SMG damage. Having splash radius is really good for hollow point, and then crit damage is really nice. The third passive doesn't really matter much. Being crit damage, you could do weapon fire rate, which will help empty your mag more, but the drones will not benefit from it since you already swapped your drone at this point. Reload speed would be really good. There's not too much for the third one. There's a couple things, but really just SMG damage, and maybe try Frenzy or Hunter's Eye for the best possible damage outcome, and then splash radius for better hollow points. And technically red explosions if you do get a good radiation hunter seeker, but I don't know if it's actually doing damage. And then the reason we go bounty hunter here is for the activating interplanetary stalker, where it gives all the bonuses no matter what the enemy. It does turn off the movement speed buff here, but we use this for the pre-add corrosive damage. This means it is multiplicative with regular elemental and corrosive damage. So we have that with the Spider and Scorcher, as well as having the corrosive bonus damage in your company man or just whatever artifact, making it just a really good class mod in general, especially guns. And this is a gun, so it's good. And then we use a company man. For setting up, you mainly just want to make sure you have fire rate. So you could technically have 2 different company mans, one for setting up and one not. And so when min-maxing, I have one for setting up, which is really just fire rate and damage on here, just the regular gun damage. Everything else doesn't matter here. Nothing else will help the spawn of the drone, and then you could swap away. Having action skill cooldown rate is nice for setup. That's really it. I can't think of anything else that would help the spawn of the drone. And then when we swap, we go to a fire rate, reload speed, and crit damage with corrosive, shock, and area of effect damage. You can keep the gun damage on the company man if you want, but that'll only help flat, where this is more min-max. You don't want any mag size, as that will mean it will take longer to empty mag reload your dark army, which means just less damage overall. So we got fire rate to empty your mag more, reload speed to reload faster so we can start shooting again, and then crit damage, since it's on hit, will benefit from our dark army. And then corrosive damage is probably the main passive I would worry about, as well as the area of effect damage. It does not get splash, or the Dark Army does not get any splash bonuses unless you chuck it. The chuck will get splashed, but that is like never used on the Dark Army, so you don't have to worry about it. The bullets you shoot itself and the drone bullets when it's elemental are not splashed. We are purely using it for the area of effect radius it gets in the second or third slot of artifacts. But since the Company Man counts all the passives as secondary, it can be in the first, second, or third slot here. Literally does not matter for the Company Man. Corrosive and area effect damage with crit damage. Company Man is the minimum you would need, with fire rate and reload speed for the damage being nice. Mainly because corrosive damage being so important. One, I mean, elemental damage is great, but it multiplies with the interplanetary stalker, as I just mentioned before. So we have that going on for it. And then I just have shock damage because of the revolter. You could go action skill cooldown right if you wanted, or cryo damage, since we are using Terra Cryo. Whatever you wanted to use, you could do there. Pretty open slot, you just don't want mag size. I think you can get weapon reload speed passive as well, could be nice. Lots of options there. Alright, and then for the skill tree, I'd say it looks pretty basic for a gun flak build, as this is pretty much spicy gun flak. We have Interplanetary Stalker. I mean, you always take this with any flak build, even if you don't have Bounty Hunter going on, just because it's really good. Gives V1 damage no matter the enemy, and then it gives corrosive damage, action skill damage, movement speed, and pet damage. Movement speed is turned off with the Bounty Hunter from a bug. Action skill damage doesn't matter as we're using Fade Away. So, and of course, pet damage is doing nothing here. So we're just benefiting from the V1 and corrosive damage, but that is still plenty to benefit from and really insane. We don't go Leave No Trace because we do not want to regain ammo, as that means it takes longer to reload. Max points in Second Intention, as this will give more reload speed. Head count for getting back our action skill faster. And then Hunter's Eye for the bonuses of fake crit and V2 damage. And then we have Two Fang here. If you aren't using the strat of setting up Two Fang with the predetermined skill, because it is predetermined, I will link something that talks about these skills if I remember, but it pretty much just has a set chain that then repeats, so you can do like a fresh run and then set it up. But if you aren't, you can take those out and put extra into whatever's needed to get down the tree. Anything that's beneficial. Hidden Machine could be nice. Getting agility training could be really nice. Trying to get down to Barbaric Yop, because I think we go extra skill points in Red Tree and maybe Green Tree, maybe not. I can't remember. So that's there. But if you do use Two Fang, you could also take some points out of Second Intention and get agility training to min-max. The only downside is when pet is down, agility training turns off. That's a fun little bug. But yeah, if you don't need Two Fang, or you don't use Two Fang, then you can take it away, because it's useless, because it won't activate for the drones and only flak when you are shooting it. Big game to increase our hunter skills, duration, and effects. Most dangerous game really here for the crit damage. Galactic Shadow, crit damage, and enemies are less likely to attack you. And then Megavore for the crit chance. These count as true crits, not fake crits like Fade Away. And then for Green Tree, we go down to Capstone. Just really nice to get, as we are using Fade Away. We go Furious Attack for the gun damage here. We actually do stack this when you are shooting yourself with the bang stick, so that is really nice there. Overclocked for fire rate. We aren't really benefiting from the after reload for the drones. You could set that up. I always forget that's part of overclock because I barely use this skill, but it is still very good when getting stuff, just constantly using it to reload in general after you set it up. So it's good either way. Eager to Impress to have less action skill cooldown. Lick the Wounds for pet reviving you. Turn-Tailor Run's just good for health regen, as well as the gun damage and fire rate when standing still, which we do use with Dark Army with standing still and swapping. Fast and Furious for gun damage and movement speed. This is going to be active when we are swapping to the Dark Army. For the gun damage, which is very minimal, I mainly like it for the movement speed as it's just nice quality of life. Otherwise, you could swap to Hidden Machine. And then I go 5 Rage and Recover as it's just really nice skill. Health regen is great, so I keep that going. You could put this elsewhere if you wanted to. And then Power Inside for the V1 damage, 25% when less than full health and 50% when at full health. Nothing in Purple Tree, but I did talk about the possible agility training. And then for Red Tree or Blue Tree, we mainly going down to Frenzy. We go 3 in Persistent Hunter for the action skill duration, and then the gun damage is nice. And then just 2 points to get down the tree. Then we go Who Rescued Who just to help keep Pet alive. This is all you need, 1 point. He Bites is here for keeping Frenzy up. It is really good as when a pet or an enemy attacks Pet, Pet will attack back. That will stack Frenzy, which when Flak's Pet deals damage, Vladimir Pet gains a stack of Frenzy, increased damage. This is V1 damage and just really good, so we take that there. And then for the pet, you're going to want to go Scorcher for the elemental damage, which is just really nice. And then we go Fade Away with Gorillas in the Mist. Now normally you don't go Gorillas in the Mist without a stack bot, and we technically do use stack bot, but it's not what we use for fighting. But it is good here for having the drones constantly critting while in Fade Away, so we just have that going, which is mainly really good for Hollow Point. You can't really do that with base Fade Away, as you need to constantly be shooting and reloading, which is unfortunate, but it's still good. And then we go on Blanking Eye for the crit damage. You could also go Not My Circus or Until You're Dead and sit on Blanking Eye, but I really wanted to. I hope you guys enjoyed the build video. Fl4k uses the Dark Army so well, and using Gorillas in the Mist without stack bots and different passives with some gear swaps is a bit weird, but it's also fun to be different. Using Fl4k's damage formula is always fun, but using it with the Dark Army just feels even better. Again, you can find the save file in my Discord, which is linked down below, as well as my other socials. If you have it, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.